give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better. See, I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got. All right. Hello everyone, here we go again. So briefly, we're working on a project where I'm posting everything on my Patreon for free. Let's say sequences of scenes for what you can see in my city. And the purpose of this project is to study storytelling, world building, and composition. So this is the first scene that we did yesterday. It is a... The idea is maybe like doing 10 scenes or maybe less of if you go riding or walking or transportation around my city and the different things that you see. I'm not trying to add any element of fantasy or like differentiation yet. It's just a basic study of what's existing. Later on, once I get more solid grasp of all of these concepts, maybe I will start doing studies of dystopian genres, fantasy genres, cyberpunk, steampunk, whatever. We can still explore later on. The whole point of this is just to visualize these kind of concepts and move on forward. Just want to show you, I showed this yesterday. This is the Patreon. Everything is for free. The payment membership is just for support only. Maybe later on we'll have some exclusive content, some exclusive perks, some discounts for maybe something that we'll do in the shop. But for now, you can see the kind of post that I work on. We do 2D art, 3D art, computational art. I'm gonna share more tips and tricks on how you explore your creativity, how you expand this kind of your visual library. And you can see also more information about this project, the history of this project that I'm working on, what's the point of the studies, and why I'm doing this, and the history of this country that I'm studying, which is my country, basically, Beirut, Lebanon. And yeah, you also find some free stuff, PSD file, 3D file, Blender files. And later on, once we do these kind of ideations, concepting thumbnails, we'll move on to Blender, and we'll do it in a different style. We'll do it maybe in a painterly / grease pencil style. Anyways, that's it for the introduction. It's a bit long, I know. So, excuse me. So the first thing that we did yesterday was a guy going on a bike under like a main hub of transportation of the city, where you see like you have a big bridge and a lot of street elements, cables. You're gonna see a lot of this in my sketches because it's everywhere. Unmanaged, unorganized, utility, transportation, like nobody's respecting any safety rule or anything. Everyone just winging it. Sometimes the police is even not respecting anything, so nobody's abiding by anything in here. And the concept of this study is that how this country is turning into more and more of a dystopian political landscape because of all the factions, history, and all of the what went through this. So the next scene I want to do, where I have some rough outlines, and I told you about yesterday before the stream cut, is how you can see inside the airport clearly if you're living somewhere in the neighborhood, because of the unorganized during the war, where everything was built without any permits and regulations. All of these buildings are illegal technically, even they don't own the lands that they built on, but they kept them for some political reasons of monitoring and making sure that the airport is being monitored by one of the factions, which is the strongest factions in here, because they have a militia, military, and whatever. Anyway, this is not a political channel, so I'm not gonna go into these. I'm just gonna do my art where there's a lady with a kid on a balcony. We're gonna do more details. There's a road underneath, and they can clearly see the airport. Excuse me. Perfect timing. Okay. So this lady is sitting on a chair because, of course, there is no utility. The electricity is cut. We only have around maybe 2 hours per day, 2 to 4 hours per day of electricity from the government, like from the utility. Of course, we pay for it, it's not for free. And the rest of the day, you either have to pay for a private generator, like a business, or you'd have to sit on balconies if it's too hot outside, or like manage. So anyways, this lady is sitting outside on a beautiful day. Of course, the argile, the hubble bubble, whatever, it's a very important element of our social life in here. I don't know how to draw it, and I'm trying to draw it in perspective actually. What's the brush that we're using? Okay. If that the brush is a bit not responsive. Yeah, that's better. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna keep the lines a bit squiggly. I don't want to have a very clean line art. These are just thumbnails for the 3D art later. So they might be wrong perspectively, they might be inaccurate in terms of proportions, but that's fine. It's just another version of the line sketch underneath it. Just a cleaner one. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. So this kid is playing with his toys. Maybe some blocks. Maybe a car. I don't know how to draw a car properly. I've been practicing for days and I still don't think I managed to do that. They're not that easy to draw anyway. Okay, so you have this kid sitting outside. He's not wearing gloves. Every time I draw a human being, I tend to add this line here. And I think this is because I don't know how to draw a lot of stuff yet. And again, the point of this kind of explorations is not just to practice drawing, which I am doing, but it's also the use of different tools for the final product, which is gonna be a grease pencil blender 3D scene, maybe with some looping animations. So I don't really care about what's happening right now. It just has to be a clear idea. And later on I will add some text to it and post it as a story slip on my Patreon as a scene that we'll be working on. If we're gonna choose it. Maybe we'll do some poll later on. Anyways. You have everywhere. Just like we have poles and cables everywhere. We also have AC external compressors, machines. Also everywhere. The line art underneath it is a bit too much. So let's say this is the rail, the metallic rail. We don't really care about having the cleanest line ever. This light is too bright. Still shadowing, yeah, it's fine. This is more than enough. It's right in my eye. Alright, so maybe here. And we have the railing. Okay. So this is the foreground. Now, the next element of this, in this sketch, I drew it a bit low. It's here. This is kind of the wall separating the airport from the street. I don't like this overlap a lot. So I'm gonna push this upwards. So maybe it will create like a backdrop against the foreground that might look a bit interesting. So let's do that. So this is the airport wall. Let's push all of this upwards. And let's erase this part. The one that we already drew. Just not to have this kind of weird overlap of lines. Right, back to here. So this is kind of a high concrete. I need to learn how to draw. Separation between the road and the airport. It's kind of like big concrete blocks. And of course, graffiti artists and small businesses, and everyone uses this wall. And somebody like sending a message to his girlfriend, like love letters, or like everyone is using this. Trying not to be very clear, but the stuff I write doesn't have to be very clear language, at least for now. Alright, so this is the road underneath. This is the building. I need to have more squiggly lines. It would look a bit more interesting in my line art. I don't want to respect the frames a lot. This is maybe the second time or like the first time for me doing concept art live, and I'm actually not good at it at all. So what I'm trying to push in this kind of my Patreon page is the idea of creative pursuit, creative living. I've been reading a lot of this in this book called Big Magic. It's a really interesting concept. And the idea is that if you pursue your creativity, you're gonna live a more fulfilled life, a more joyful life. And you don't have to like quit your job or like take big risks. You can do it on your part-time. just follow your curiosity, the stuff that you love, the passions that you have, whatever it is. It can be, it doesn't have to be related to art. It can be maybe, I don't know, gardening, metal work, mechanic work. All of this is still like, follow your creativity, the stuff that you care about, and you're gonna see some changes in your well-being, basically. Anyway, of course there are guys on motorcycles everywhere. I drive a motorcycle because it's too expensive to own a car, even though it's very dangerous. It's not the best way to transport, especially in these road conditions that we have in here. There are no public transportations, or no proper public transportations. Anyways, this is my face in the camera. It's always nice to see your face. So streaming to yourself, you can kind of start to lose your mind. So you have this kind of like, maybe the orange, I don't know if you've ever seen them, like the road separations. Again, watching someone like a master artist do this kind of stuff very quickly, more detailed, very neatly, is very humbling. Like, you'd see the amount that, like, what hard work and years of practicing can do. Not necessarily talent, of course. Some people are more talented than they are born with skills, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it's just labor, and that depends on your goal. If you want to be that person, then this is what you have to do. I personally don't really care about this stuff. For me, it's just about the pursuit itself, the joy of like of trying to learn new things, create new ideas, and try to present them as clearly and as fast as I can. I don't really look for mastery in my work. It's not the point for me. So the question is, should we see another balcony in here? I think below, of course, it should be something like this. This is converging to the view line somewhere in here. Maybe a curtain with two. Yeah. To hide a bit the details. Again, this is so out of frame. It should be somewhere in here. And if you go up and the view line is still, then technically it should be something like this, right? I'm not very good at perspective, by the way, so take it easy on me. Yeah, it should be somewhere in here, because we're still looking up until maybe somewhere here. Let's push this down. No. But doing that will technically hide this lady. Wait, what's happening? Drawing on two layers at the same time. I have to make sure that these are properly within the frame. So I have to move it for it to be well centered. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so what I was saying is, if you want to do another balcony in here, then technically we're hiding the lady because it's something like this. Else, you wanna say like this is some sort of a pergola structure. Maybe it's not a bad idea because it felt a bit weird for her to be floating in space. Yes. Anyways. So yeah, you're in a building. That's the road below you. I think we need to have some car in here just to make it a bit more clear. Looks like a very big car. I have no clue about how to measure proportions in these kind of complicated perspectives. I can Google it, I can learn it, I know. But I'm not really interested. For me, if it kinda look right, at least for like a first glance for now, that's fine. Anyway, later on it will all be to scale in Blender. Done in 3D. So I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. And yeah, I don't know how to draw cars. I don't know how to draw anything actually. If you wanna think about it. But that's fine. So a car passing by, a motorcycle passing by. I'm just trying to finish as much as I can of the foreground before jumping into the background part. So maybe we can clean up a bit. Okay. So next, I think we should add some, or maybe later on. Like the electrical poles always add something unique to this kind of style of drawings. But I'm afraid that if I do it right now, it's maybe gonna mess up the background part, which is the airplane part. So with this kind of composition, I think this is too long as a composition, so maybe we're gonna cut it somewhere in here as a picture. And maybe somewhere in here. So maybe this is our frame. The lady has to show a bit more. So yeah, maybe this is our frame. We can always change it later in 3D, that's fine. So the airplane should be pushed a bit back. It's somewhere in here. Are we still online? Yep. I really hope that someone will find use in these videos later. I know that nobody's watching because I still only have like maybe 70 subscribers, 73 I guess at this point. I do like to believe that this is gonna change maybe in a year or two, I don't know. And guess what? I don't even know how to draw an airplane. I can pull up references, but I'll do that when I do the 3D assets. That will also be provided for free on my Patreon. What goes into an airplane? There's the back, there are the wings, there are the small windows everywhere, there is a door, maybe somewhere here. And there's a door somewhere here. Let me erase this part of the underlying sketch because it's gonna It's kind of in the way right now. So this airplane is not flying, even though it looks like it's flying right now. It's just moving on its lane. Let's erase this. Drawing on the wrong layer. There are bushes. There are some people here. Just to show the difference in scale. There are other roads because of course. There are the airplane services, the airport services. Let's do these small buses in the airports. Maybe it's too small. In respect to the perspective, airplanes are huge. Kind of didn't make a lot of sense for the scale that I was using before, comparing everything together. This guy is too big, and these are too big also. This kind of makes a bit more sense now. Let's merge them, it's fine. Let's remove this line for now. We can make this a bit shorter. And the way you do it is we combine these two together. Okay. Every time I see myself, I have to laugh at myself. That's the rule. Every time you look at yourself, you need to laugh at yourself. Alright. Because enlarging the airplane messed it up a bit, the lines. We need to redraw it. That's it. I'm pretty sure an airplane has more details than what I'm doing. the first wheel. There are two wheels underneath here we cannot draw. Some windows. And let's delete the one below. I think this kind of gets the idea through. Not gonna stream for too long today. My dad's at the hospital. I need to go visit very soon. So I'm gonna do the basic value paintings and the stream today. Tomorrow we'll be doing another one. I think I'll do maybe 5 in total into the posted on Patreon. Our hand is too long. That cannot be right. That can be right. Okay, near the black. What's happening? Using too many shortcuts in Photoshop, sometimes I press stuff that I shouldn't be pressing, I guess. Because it starts to behave weirdly at some point. Layers. Alright, back to using the proper brush. So these are the foreground elements. The mom, the kid, and the argile. I think I need to lay back a bit. I'm pushing myself too close to the screen. I need to chill. It's kind of stressful to do all of this stuff at the same time live when no one's watching as well. All of this adds up mentally. I guess I get to be more careful for my posture. Alright. Then let's pick this one below. This is gonna be for all of these. Building a wall. Okay. I think I need to research what's the best posture for drawing on tablets. Pretty sure what I'm doing isn't healthy because every time I'm done, like after 2 hours of working, not necessarily just streaming, if I'm working on something, I end up with a back pain. The most annoying shoulder pains actually. Alright. Let's fill this one just because it's looking kinda weird. Maybe like this. Maybe like this. Give it some time. Yeah. New layer. And let's push this up to be a bit lighter. This is the mid ground. the road, the cars. And then let's keep it on the same layer, that's fine. Maybe let's just keep the road white. Go very light. Just do these elements. I think the second one, this one, is too dark. And then this one should be lighter than by virtue. Learning new words. Cool. And to finalize all of this, let's merge all of these. So this is scene 1. Don't merge a group, Ctrl G. So this is scene 1. If everything is too small on my screen, that's because it's a 4K screen that I don't know how to customize the UI for Photoshop. So this is scene 2. This will be in here. Below everything. Alright. Let's go with this brush, the squarish one. Let's make it smaller. Let's start to add some details. When I say details, all I mean is light poles and electric wires. Look at this. This is gonna change everything now. It's gonna mess it up. Of course. Maybe someone is walking here. This is too high. Just trying to make this sketch a bit more interesting by adding more details. I think the brush I'm using now is a bit more suitable for this kind of work. I don't think the airplane should have thick lines. All right. Adding some textures as well. Like what you do in the apps on like Apple, the iPad or like the Samsung tablets, like Procreate, Infinite Painter. You have this kind of button where you add texture quickly to the image. It adds a lot of characters, by the way. You can do that in Photoshop, of course. You can get any texture and then you can change the blending mode. It will look fine, but it will actually add a lot of character for this kind of stuff. So maybe later on when I'm done with all of this, I will add just one layer of that. See this kind of imperfections. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel it kind of make a big difference. You have the perspective lines all wrong in here. So you have this, you have some cables, of course. You have some cables running like this. And then you have this kind of airplane by itself in here. Should have some sort of a flag somewhere, maybe here. I think this is where you have like a seam because the cabin opens. I know I can Google how an airplane should look like. But I'm trying to keep it from memory from when I travel. Where do I see seams usually? Or just trying to add complexity, just maybe like it will have some sort of a flag somewhere, some icon, small antennas. Okay. So we already have two sketches. This one is under the bridge one. This is 1, 2. This is 1. 2 is living next to the airport. And the fun fact about living next to the airport is that when a war happens, the first thing that got hit by missiles is the airport. So these are the people that usually are the most traumatized because of it. Living by something that makes a lot of noise and doesn't sleep isn't already traumatic enough, you know. You have also to live in fear of always being blasted by some fighter jets whenever somebody decides to launch a war, and it happens more frequently here than you might think so. Alright, this is it. Let's move this here. That's the tab. Yeah, I think I should draw like this. Alright. Thank you for much for watching this, probably later because I was streaming for myself. And I'll see you in the next time.